Hey, it's Sophia. Time for a real talk. Have you caught yourself spending way more than you expected on a regular Starbucks coffee? Or realizing that grabbing McDonald's for convenience isn't that sort of convenience and it's just as pricey as ordering Chipotle maybe? Yeah, you are not crazy, my friend. Eating out in America is getting expensive really fast. Today I'm telling you why your fast food bill is climbing, why your favorite restaurants are raising their prices, and what it all means for you as a consumer, and honestly, most importantly, as an investor. If you care about your money, your daily spending, or your portfolio, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates on what's actually impacting your wallet. All right, first, let's set the stage. Picture this. You walk into McDonald's, you order just your usual combo, and suddenly it's like, wait, since when did this become $12? McDonald's prices have gone up around 40% since 2019, guys. And more hikes are coming into this year, 2025. Still, we're going. Chipotle, they promised this bigger portions earlier this year, and then guess what? They rolled out this 2 to 3% price hike in early 2025. Now we see Starbucks. They held off to this big price increase until the end of this year by September. Now they're charging you 80 cents for syrups or sauces. You're paying more, but just in a different way. Convenience, it's officially a premium product. Okay, but why is this happening? Actually, guys, open your eyes. It comes to big three reasons why. It's tariffs, inflation, and record high beef prices. Tariffs. Oh, these are a pain because those extra taxes that the government puts on imports. Yeah, by 2025, the government said, let's make them extreme. Italian pasta brands, they got hit by 92% in these anti-dumping duties and this 15% baseline tariff. That means some pasta imports, they are phasing out around 100% tariffs. Cheese, pecorino romano coming from Europe, that's insane amounts of tariffs imposed to these imports, 25% to the pecorino romano I mentioned. The wine is up about 35% coming from the European Union, right? These processed tomatoes, 42%. Independent restaurants are getting crushed. Fine dining spots, I would say Italian restaurants, they're getting cooked, guys. Because it's impossible to keep prices stable. These restaurants are not going to absorb their costs. They're going to pass it down to you because they're not a charity, guys. This is basic economics. We need to talk about inflation because in 2025, food inflation is running about 3.1% year over year. That sounds small, but month to month increases of 0.1% to 0.3%, yeah, they add up. And you might be wondering, why are these companies doing this to us? Why are these, if they're so big, why don't they just absorb the cost and let me have my Chipotle super cheap? Who wouldn't like a perfect world, right? But unfortunately, this is the real world. Labor costs are increasing. Their operational costs are also increasing. Their utilities are up as well. So chains like McDonald's, Chipotle, or Starbucks, they are going to raise their prices so they can stay profitable. As I said earlier, these establishments are not charity. It's basic economics. Now, the beef. This is the start of the chaos, beef. If you've watched the previous beef video that we have, you know this already, but here's the shorter version in case you're not still aware. The US cattle herd is at around 86.7 million, the lowest within 75 years. Why is this? Because we have less feed, fewer cattle, and that means higher beef prices, and demand is still strong. Classic supply and demand, guys. But this is a toxic relationship because the USDA predicts that beef prices will rise by 11.6% by the end of this year. That's insane. This hits everybody, McDonald's quarter pounder, you like meat or anything, fine dining. Filet mignons are gonna be so expensive now. Okay, so how does this actually affect me, Sophia? You might be wondering that. Okay, so just picture this. A $10 fast food meal from a few years ago can actually be $12 to $13 today. So fine dining, even affordable places, these places are really getting cooked, I would say that, because consumers are pulling back. Sales at McDonald's, Chipotle, and Starbucks, they are all softening. A lot of people say, the minute markets. You guys just talk about the bad news and the downside of everything. But actually, here are some good news. Compared to 2022, when food inflation hit 11.4%, 2025 inflation looks like a jog instead of a sprint, actually. Because groceries are up about 2% in the first half of 2025, but food overall is up about 3.1%. Prices are 18 to 29% higher than January 2022, yes, but the pace is slowing. And after the federal shutdown in October, the SNAP benefits are actually coming back because of the bipartisan deal that happened in November 11th and 12th. That means that full SNAP fundings are resuming all through 2026. This is good news for millions of families. They're actually getting this relief that they need. Okay, but let's bring it back to the markets, because we are midnight markets. We don't just complain. Of course we don't complain, but I'm actually telling you the facts of why your wallet might be getting cooked and your investments as well. So please pay attention. Consumer demand is down. People are ordering out less. These restaurants, they have to keep a good margin, so they make you pay more because they need to pay for that labor for those ingredients. Of course, the brand loyalty. I said brand loyalty. And we live in this world where loyalty is gold, technically, because people are going to go to the cheapest option as soon as they find it. Things investors should watch for. If you really care about where the market's going to move, you need to look through the traffic of these establishments like McDonald's, Chipotle's margin trends, Starbucks, and their pricing strategy. They're thinking really smart. We are going to make you pay, but in the small things, so they add up till the end. You need to keep an eye on what these politicians are doing, because the tariff policy, in Q1 and Q2 of 2025, that is what is affecting these establishments right now, because it is all a chain reaction. And of course, look through the CPI, the food away from home category. This is how you're going to see the pressures on these big chains, the pressure on their earnings, and this is going to give you a huge hint on how the market's going to move from now on. So yes, tariffs are making imported pasta, cheese, and wine and tomatoes insanely expensive, and inflation is pushing operational and labor costs up, and beef is actually becoming a luxury item with an 11.6% projected increase by the end of this year. Of course, we are feeling this squeeze, and restaurants are struggling to balance their costs. But you have to remember that inflation is milder than 2022, and SNAP benefits are returning to bring some reliefs to these families that are now choosing to eat at home than going to these big affordable chain restaurants. And that's the real story behind why every time you go out to Starbucks, you feel like you have now entered into the Ritz or something, because this is what's actually happening. And you as an investor, you need to be paying attention to these things. And so you don't miss a beat, please subscribe to the Minute Markets. And that's it for today, guys. See you soon.